Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast. I'm Rachel Fiori, your host for this episode. Welcome and thank you for listening. This topic that I would love to dive into today is when your partner refuses to grow. When your partner refuses to grow, when you're doing the growing, the healing, you're working on yourself, on the relationship, you really want to heal your relationship, and your partner isn't exactly on board. Okay. A lot of people deal with this. Like a lot of people deal with this. You're awakening, you're healing, you're elevating, you're growing. And your partner is not choosing to focus on themselves, to grow or to heal or to elevate or to change or to become more conscious or to grow up. They just are where they're at and they are content, and you don't ask me to change, or they refuse to go to therapy, they refuse to go to coaching, couples counseling, couples coaching, whatever. They're refusing. They won't do it. And there you are in the relationship. And sometimes in the relationship, there you are kind of trapped. Not everybody has the ability, if you're married, not everybody has the ability or the financial freedom to just initiate the divorce and go, right? So what does it really mean when your partner refuses to go? Man, this is so common. I've gotten this a tremendous amount over the years in my clients. I've had so many clients over the years who really desperately wanted their partner to do, relationship coaching, couples coaching, with our incredible coaching programs at Masters of Self University, and they refused. Their partner refused. Their husband, their spouse, whatever, refused. Their wife refused, and they came themselves, and they decided to do it themselves. And I coached them through the relationship coaching, not just the one-on-one coaching. Anybody out there, don't wait for your partner to jump on board to heal and grow and elevate yourself. Do not allow your partner's refusal to heal and grow and elevate to impact you choosing to heal and elevate and grow. We fall into a trap oftentimes of using that as an excuse to not heal, elevate, and grow ourselves. Don't you dare use that as an excuse. Because, of course, what is the most common? I know you already know the answer to this. What is the most common fear that gets triggered inside of somebody? But if I grow and I go do this on my own, the relationship is going to end. That's most commonly the biggest fear, right? And I'm sure some of you listening to this can relate to that. You either have gone through that in the past or you might be experiencing it right now. So I want to talk to you about that. Listen, when your partner, and what to do about it, I want you to know what my guidance for you is and what I guide all people to do in these scenarios. Okay. I'm going to give you some examples because, of course, every scenario is going to be a little different. They're going to be unique. And let me just get this one out of the way. Don't you dare use your kids as an excuse to stay in a relationship that you know damn well you should be getting out of. Don't use your kids as an excuse. You're not staying because of the kids. You're destroying the kids by staying. You're making things so much worse. Don't you dare do that. I'm going to make that very clear. Let's just get that one out of the way. Okay. I don't need to elaborate on that. You, in your powerlessness, in your fear, because you're afraid to leave, you are not connecting to your own power to do what you know you need to do or you should do. And therefore, you're using your kiddos as an excuse to stay in weakness and powerlessness. There is no such thing as I'm staying for the kids other than you're too powerless. You are running powerlessness programs. You are not connecting to your power. doing what you know in your heart, in your soul, you need to do. Don't you use your kids as an excuse like that, because they suffer when you stay. They suffer. It causes way more damage staying in unhealthy, dysfunctional relationships and forcing your children to go through that than it is to show your children what it means to be powerful, to set a boundary, to stick with it, that no matter how much it hurts, no matter the pain, no matter how challenging it might be, this is what is best for me. This is what is best for us. And so I'm out. That kind of power is what you should be role modeling to your children. Not, I'm too weak, I'm too afraid to leave, so I'm going to use you as an excuse that I stay. I stayed for you. Oh, get out of here. You don't get to do that to your children. How dare you? So now that that one's out of the way, let's talk about when your partner really refuses to grow or heal or go to counseling or go to coaching or whatever, right? What do? You heal yourself. Period. End. You heal yourself. You go to coaching. You go do the programs, do the coaching, go to the retreats, the transformational retreats. Get your coach, get your therapist. You do your counseling. You do the work on yourself to heal. Why? Oh my God, what'll happen? Well, first of all, you're healing yourself. How the hell could that ever be anything wrong or bad with that? You're healing, you're becoming more powerful, you are elevating. Stop using your partner as an excuse not to grow. Isn't that what they're doing? They're refusing to grow. You're now going to refuse to grow too? That doesn't even make any sense. Think about what you're doing. Stop doing that to yourself. Right? So don't run the programs that they're running, which is there's some excuse to not grow. You want to turn around and do the same thing? Doesn't even make any sense. So you get the coaching. You do what you need to do. You get the programs, meaning the coaching programs, the therapy programs, whatever you're going to do to heal yourself. Join, invest in it, do it, start it yesterday. So what will the outcome be? I'm not talking about whether you stay together and heal it, that get out of your ego, get out of your shadow self and thinking you're going to control an outcome if you do a certain thing. That's ego. That's actually powerlessness. That's fear-based thinking. We are here to heal all of that nonsense. Okay. So when you really, truly dive in to working on yourself and you devote this coaching and the time and the healing, you devote to yourself that gift. You invest in your emotional, mental, and spiritual health. That's what you're investing in. You're investing in yourself. That is an expression of self-love, that I am choosing to love myself enough to do the healing and the elevating and the work that it takes to raise my level of consciousness, to heal my inner child wounds, for example. That is a devotion to self. That is an act of self-love. It is an act of self-love. So show yourself some love and get the coach, dive into the program. Don't you dare use your partner choosing not to grow as an excuse for you to choose not to grow. Now you're being just like them. Okay, so don't make that mistake. Don't make that choice. That's not a mistake. It's a choice. I'll call that one out. Okay, so when you start healing and you start elevating all on your own, there's several scenarios that can happen. There's numerous. I'll go over a few of the most common. So, of course, your partner could offer a lot of resistance, complaining, anger. They'll complain about how much it costs. Oh, you're willing to spend that much money on, they'll do everything under the sun to shame you, to blame you, to be angry at you, to use you as a scapegoat for why they're frustrated and angry. Now they have now they have an excuse. Now they have an outlet. You see it? They'll scapegoat and, well, they're in a bad mood because you're spending money on blah, 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 blah. Like they'll bitch and complain about that and pretend like that's why they're unhappy. That's why they're miserable, when obviously their own wounds, their own programs are what make them miserable. You healing yourself is something that your partner should be excited about, proud of. If they are not, hello, massive fucking red flag of why you're with this person. Hello. Massive red flashing warning lights right there. If your partner is actually angry, frustrated, annoyed, bothered by the fact that you're getting counseling or coaching, that you're healing yourself, that you're doing this for yourself, that is a major red flag. So you need to start some real serious consideration of why, if, and why you're staying with this person. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that you immediately break up and end the relationship and get a divorce if you're married or whatever. Every scenario is uniquely different. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what should be done, by the way. Okay. How do you know what to do for you? Honestly, get the coaching, get healing, elevate. Your soul will guide you on what to do as you elevate. Your professional who is trained in the art and act of trauma healing, for example, inner child healing, for example, your professional will help to guide you. Your professional will guide you. Your coach will guide you on your healing, your elevation. They will guide you as to what you quote unquote should do. And no, they're not just simply going to tell you, yep, get divorced or not. Now, in any abusive situation, a professional will guide you to safely get out, that you need to safely come up with a plan and safely get out of the relationship. So when it comes to, being abused, of course, you should safely get help and get out, right? So that aside, extreme examples like that aside, we're going to talk about some of the scenarios that happen when that's not the case, right? So if your partner gives you a problem, they're pissed off, they're angry, they're giving you the cold shoulder, and they'll a lot of times how they will use an excuse to be angry is you shouldn't be spending that kind of money on blah 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 blah. Really what they're saying to you is like, "Oh, okay, let's figure out how we can budget this because if this is really important to you and you want to heal and elevate, that's amazing. That's wonderful. They should be applauding you and they should be helping you to make sure you can achieve it and do it and participate in it and pay for it. If they're not doing that, like I said, major freaking red flag that they are not applauding you or supporting you in healing and elevating. That's a no-no. That's a massive question of why the hell are you with this person who wants you to stay small, unhealthy, dysfunctional, maybe codependent, maybe a little bit on the abusive side of a relationship. Maybe they're dominating or controlling. Maybe, there's 1,000 different scenarios, but why would they not want to see you get healthier, elevate, grow, heal yourself from programs, from conflicts in the relationship that keep coming up, from unsolved crap in the relationship that keeps coming up? So one scenario is they will really give you a hard time. And all I can say to you is if they can manipulate you and control you into not getting help or coaching or healing or whatever, what does that say about you in your choices? The lack of self-love that you have, that you're willing to stay in a relationship where that person doesn't want what's best for you, which means they don't give a fucking shit about what's best for the relationship. Because what's best for any relationship is healing, elevating, and growing. Period. End. You could have a really fantastic relationship, by the way. And sometimes it's just, hey, we love each other. We support each other. We are all about growth. We don't know right now where to take our relationship to a more elevated level. Like we don't know how to do that. And that could be, okay, great. Let's find whatever retreat or coaching program or whatever we can participate in together to just take our relationship to a higher level because we just want to. That right there is a divine, sacred relationship. So I will be excited to tell you about the retreats that we're going to be offering at Masters of Self University and where they're going to be offered. And yes, we have a program, a relationship program for our retreats that we will be offering to do just what I mentioned, like just to elevate your relationship even higher, because that is exciting and beautiful and wonderful. So if you are not in that kind of relationship, and a lot of people unfortunately are not, then you heal yourself. The next thing that can happen is your partner might not choose growth and might not want to do this with you. Okay. And when that's the case and you decide to do it for yourself, they'll just say, okay, cool, that's your thing. Like they might not give you a problem. They might not be, outwardly negative about it. But they won't sort of ask you about it, support you really. It's almost like you're doing it as a hobby and they don't want to know about it. It's like, don't ask, don't tell kind of nonsense. Um, yeah, cool. You did that. Yeah. And they don't show a lot of interest in it. And the reason is obviously people choose to not grow for a reason. Why are they choosing not to grow? Without getting into your mind and running mental programs, ask your heart why this person is choosing not to grow. When they are literally choosing their shadow self, their ego, their dysfunction, their unhealthy programs, their inner child wounds, they are staying at a level of immaturity. And of all the different programs, all the various mental, emotional, and inner child programs a person can be running that prevents them, that stops them and blocks them from choosing growth. Let me tell you what is 100% of the time one of the programs: powerlessness. Powerlessness. Because if we are connected even just a little bit to our divine power, we know no matter how hard something is, no matter how scary something is, that's going to elevate me. I'm in. I am all in. I'm going for it. It's like, you're jumping you're going skydiving, like you're jumping out of the plane no matter how scary it is. You're going to do the bungee jumping no matter how scary it is, no matter how afraid of heights you are. It's like that. You're just going to plunge in. When you are connected to your power, even a little bit, you will do whatever it takes to save the money, earn the money, make the investment. The time doesn't matter how much time, no matter how hard you work, no matter how little time you may have, no matter the kids and the job and the business and the this and the that and the keeping myself healthy and the working out and my yoga class. I'm doing this. No matter what, this is going to make me better. This is going to make me more powerful. I'm going to heal more. I'll be able to heal enough so that I don't work 3 million hours a week with everything. I actually will have the power to co-create more time for myself. I actually, speaking of which, actually just had a client I've been working with for a while. Oh, this person is so amazing. I am just in such honoring of her. She is just absolutely incredible. Who she's become in doing this work, I mean, is just completely new person in the most beautiful way. She was an amazing person to begin with, but her most magnificent self is really blossoming, coming out and shining like this bright divine light. It is just unbelievable. I wish I could share some things. Confidentiality, obviously, I'm not going to share much, but just know that, one of the clients I'm working with, she is magnificent. And one of the things that she has always done is drown herself in work. And she loves work. She enjoys it. It's not like she doesn't like it, but some of the programs, like many people run, when they use work as a way to avoid pain, they're just drowning in work. So this person just recently is like, nope, not renewing my contract, not working that full time, and is doing this consulting thing very part-time on the side now, first time in her entire life. And here's the most magnificent thing about it. She has healed and elevated so much that one of the byproducts of that, she is extremely financially well off. She has nothing to worry about for years. She couldn't work a day for years and years, and she would be very well off because she's worked that hard. Financially, she's been very, very successful in everything she's accomplished. But now she has accomplished the free time. She gets to enjoy life. She has more choice because she can go do whatever she wants to do with her life because she has all this free time now. Okay. That is a byproduct of healing and elevating, is even if when you are just a little bit connected to your power, it doesn't matter if healing yourself takes work, because it does. Willingness, it does. Devotion, yes. Check, check, check. Okay. And that effort that you put in, the rewards that you get by doing the real work, is a level of liberation, enlightened liberation, that you cannot comprehend until you get to experience. Why would you ever not allow yourself to go through that just because your partner doesn't want to grow? Don't you dare let your partner hold you back in that way. So, one of the things sometimes that happens, so again, I just want to reiterate real quick is that if your partner who refuses to grow was even a little bit connected to his or her power, even a little bit, no matter how scary this is, they would freaking do this with you. They would do it too. Period. End. They are connected to powerlessness. They are running a program of powerlessness, or run along with dozens of other programs. There's a lot of programs, inner child wounds, that are showing up when somebody refuses to do the work to grow. But powerlessness is always a part of it, because when I'm connected to my power, it doesn't matter how scary. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter the effort. It doesn't matter how much time it takes. It doesn't matter how exhausted I'm going to be for however many months I need to do this for myself. I'm doing this for myself, period. And that's what it means to connect to your power. That no matter how hard it is, no matter how long it takes, no matter what, I'm diving in, I'm doing it. I will do it until I'm healed. Because what I'm suffering from, maybe the lack of time, the shitty relationship, the overworked, the overwhelmed, the whatever it is, what I experience now, I cannot transform that if I do nothing about it. So when I'm connected even just a little bit to my divine power, it doesn't matter how much harder it may get for a while, because sometimes it gets way harder. That's the reality for some people, and there's specific scenarios. It can get way harder. And yet, I'm willing to do that if the outcome, if my hard work pays off and I'm free because of it. Not a question. There's not a question in that moment of time of whether I will or will not do that. Does that make sense? So if your partner is somebody that refuses to grow, you don't let that hold you back and stay in powerlessness. Now, sometimes what will also happen in these scenarios when my partner refuses to grow is you will become more powerful, you will heal, you will elevate, and yes, you will start going higher, 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 elevating more, rising above, and you're, in a sense, so to speak, you're like leaving them behind. Here's the beauty. You no longer show up in the relationship in your codependent patterns, for example. You learn how to set loving, healthy boundaries. You will not participate. What you learn, especially what you learn in our coaching programs at Masters of Self University, for example, you learn how to set the boundaries that you need to set when your partner is showing up as a child, for example, their inner child is activated, and then you no longer show up as a child in return or as their parent in return. This is the beauty of doing this work, even if you have to do it by yourself. You will no longer, in reaction to their wounds, their programs, their inner child, you will not show up as a child as well. Number one, because you'll learn how not to. You'll heal all that shit. And you will not show up as their parent. Because when one person in a relationship shows up as a child, guess what they're forcing the other person to show up as? Oftentimes, a parent. So it's not just inner child activates another inner child. That can be, absolutely. And then two inner children are just fighting back and forth. But the second thing that happens, and it's more common, what happens is when one of us shows up as a child, the other one then is forced to show up as a parent. So what happens to, if I'm the wounded inner child, my wounded inner child is showing up in this conflict right now. So what I am doing, because I have this wound, now think about this. If I'm a wounded inner child, that means I have a wound that was created by my caregiver, by my parent, mom or dad or both. And yes, that includes stepmom or stepdad. That includes foster parents. That includes any caregiver. If your grandparents were around you constantly and helped to raise you, it includes them. Got it? Which means the wound with my father, for example, or the wound with my mother, which is being triggered and activated, and then I'm projecting that as my inner child wound, I'm projecting onto you, my partner. I'm forcing you to become the mom that I have the unhealed wound with. I'm forcing you to be the daddy that I have the unhealed wound with. Do you understand? And that is often why the other partner tends to start nagging, scolding, You never do this, do that. Why aren't you picking up? Why aren't you helping with this? And you're treating your partner as a child, but that partner is showing up as a child, which is why you're treating them as a child. You see this dynamic? So when this stuff happens in relationships, which it happens a lot, a lot in relationships, when this stuff happens, then one person decides to get the healing. Then you learn how not to enter into that dynamic anymore. So your partner, they're not getting healing. They're not getting the coaching. So they're still going to run their programs on you. Absolutely 100%. You can't force them to change. You can't force them to go to coaching or get the counseling. So that means they're still going to show up as they've been showing up, as that wounded inner child, as that immature child self that gets triggered and activated, right? That isn't going to change. They're still going to show up as they are. You can't heal them by you going to coaching, but you can heal yourself. So what happens is you will then learn, especially through what we coach and teach in our coaching programs at Masters of Self University, you will learn when your partner shows up as an immature little child and gets triggered and activated, how do you show up? What gets triggered and activated in you? How to heal it? And how to never show up in the dysfunctional co-patterning that you've done prior to you receiving the coaching. Learning these skills, gaining these skills, becoming very empowered, healing all the crap inside of you allows you to then learn how to not show up any longer in reaction to your partner. Okay. But you then show up as a powerful person in the relationship. So let me tell you what usually happens there. Your partner tends to get worse. Your partner can get much worse. Your partner's going to fight back. Your partner's going to be angry. Your partner's going to say, what the hell is this coaching? What is this, a cult? You're changing? What's happening to you? They're now going to blame anything and everything to try to manipulate you to stop you from becoming healed, whole, and empowered. Period. End. It's very common. Very, very common. Because what they can't stand, and this is not necessarily even with just your partner. This can be family members you're healing and becoming more powerful. This could be friends. So they're not going to like it because they can no longer run their dysfunctional programs with you. You're not in partnership with their dysfunction anymore. That's the best part of what you learn in the coaching that we offer here at Masters of Self University. When you get healed and whole and you become more powerful, you are no longer in a partnership with dysfunction. You are breaking up with the energetic patterns of dysfunction. Do you understand that? So in that sense, your partnership ends. Your partnership with dysfunction ends. Okay? You're breaking up in that sense. Now, this does not necessarily mean your relationship will end, but your partnership with dysfunction will. As a beautiful thing. We want that to happen. Because if you are ever going to work out and have a healthy relationship with your current partner, one of you better start healing. Because one of you needs to change the dynamic from dysfunctional to healthy, to loving, to the ways of oneness. The first way of oneness, the way of responsibility, right? So what's the way of responsibility in this scenario? How do I show up as the way of responsibility in this scenario? I heal myself. I invest in myself. I heal, become whole. I elevate. I become more powerful. I connect to my source of power. That's the way of connection. You can always start by at least reading Mason's Way, the 20 Universal Ways of Oneness, taught by the spirit of an enlightened dog. Get the 20 Universal Ways of Oneness, get it on Amazon. You could at least start there, start to become the ways. This is what allows you to become more and more and more powerful and less unhealthy, dysfunctional, less codependent, for example, less enabling, right? You connect to your real power. Okay. So When you are becoming this and you are healing and you are becoming whole, sometimes your partner then will get much worse. That's the truth. That sometimes your partner can get much worse. They can act out more. What they're trying to do is control you, manipulate you, intimidate you, maybe threaten to leave you in order for you to stop healing and becoming more powerful. Because what you did was, by starting to heal yourself, you threw a wrench in the partnership with their dysfunction. Like, their dysfunction was married to your dysfunction. Do you understand that? And you just ripped that away from them. Like, I'm not going to be unhealthy and dysfunctional with you anymore. I am choosing a healthy path for me, which means I'm choosing a healthier path for us in this relationship. Whether you like it or not, I am choosing power, divinity, a healthy, whole relationship. Even when you're not, I'm still choosing that, period, end. And so they can no longer run and play out their programs, their dysfunctional, unhealthy, ugly programs with you, because you're choosing to break up with those energetic patterns. You've divorced those patterns. And now they have no one to dump on, to project on. They can't engage and suck you in to their egoic conflicts and garbage anymore, to the fighting anymore. You learn how to stop all of that stuff. You learn how to stop the conflicts and the fighting. It doesn't mean you stop them. You learn how to stop yourself from engaging in what they're trying to create. See it? Do you understand? So when you do that, they sometimes get much worse. That's a possibility. I am the way of truth. I'm going to give you the way of truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Here's the beauty in this. Here's the best part. This is the exciting part. When you choose to become healed and whole and more powerful, even when your partner chooses not to do it with you, okay? Your relationship may seem to get worse for a while because of why I just explained all that. And yet it is actually healing the relationship, because your partner cannot show up anymore the way he or she showed up before, because you refuse to do that dance anymore. You no longer dance that way with your partner. Make sense? So you are already healing the relationship because you're choosing to heal yourself. That does not mean it is a smooth transition. Don't you dare be ignorant enough. I just explained to you it most likely will not be that way. Now, sometimes the more you heal yourself, the more your partner's like, oh my God, this is amazing. You're showing up in these other ways that are just amazing and beautiful and loving. And I love this version of you. Holy crap. And then they elevate too. And at some point, they're like, maybe I should do this too. Like, I want to do this too. Who's your coach? How do I get in on this? Can I join your sessions? Do I have to start on my own? And that sometimes is absolutely what happens. And then, you have this sort of beautiful, amazing new level of commitment, because it's built on a healthy relationship of unity and healing and divinity, which can lead to a sacred, truly sacred relationship. Okay. So I don't want you to think that doesn't happen. It absolutely does some of the time. Okay. Um, a little more commonly, what happens is the partner, you know, seems to get worse. They're throwing a tantrum. Like, they're going to throw their tantrums because they cannot entice you anymore or trick you into fighting and the dysfunction and the conflicts and the things that were going on in the relationship before. You just stand your ground. You learn what it means to be fully empowered and to stand your ground and to set the boundaries you need to set. And you're setting them with love. You're not setting them with judgment. Sometimes those boundaries are going to be really firm, really harsh boundaries. They need to be in order to be healthy sometimes. Okay. And when that's the case, as long as you're choosing the healthy way, the powerful way, that does nothing but heal the relationship. But healing the relationship can be really painful, really messy for a while. So it can get uglier. It seems like it's getting worse. A lot of times when something seems like it's getting worse, it's actually getting better. To understand, well, how's that the case? Go through our coaching programs. I mean, you learn step by step and understand why as you move and shift and alchemize the energy of these programs. You're alchemizing and dissolving all of these programs. So they're going to throw their tantrum. They're going to act like a toddler. They're going to act like bratty teenagers. They're going to fight against it oftentimes. Guess what? When you learn the work that we offer at Masters of Self University, you actually become more powerful when your partner shows up in those ways. You can actually you use that to your advantage to become even more powerful. You don't need your partner to be like, "Oh, you're wonderful, you're perfect. This is great. I support you 100%." That shows how powerless and weak you actually are if that's what you need in order to heal yourself. You don't need that. That's a load of crap. Don't fool yourself. You are not that powerless. You might be running the programs of weakness. You are not actually that weak. Do you understand that? You don't need your partner to support you and applaud you for healing yourself. You actually don't need that. And if they get worse for a while because you are, that's okay. You don't want to know why that's okay? That's a sign you're doing the real work and you're healing and you're making changes and energetic shifts in the relationship. That is exactly what you want. They can resist it. They can throw a fit. They can throw their tantrums all they want to. When you learn this work in our coaching programs at Masters of Self University, your response to that is to become more powerful and more powerful. You go higher. You elevate more. Who cares your partner refuses to grow? Who cares? You don't need to be exactly precisely on the same goddamn level. That is ridiculous. That is a kindergarten level of spiritual understanding. Truly, it is. You don't need that. Just do it for yourself. Stop acting like, oh, I can't do it if it's alone, if I'm alone, if my partner doesn't do it, how am I going to do it? We need to do it together. No, you don't. Because sometimes if your partner is somebody that was raised by enmeshed parenting, they have enmeshed programs that they're running, enmeshment, or they have codependency, if they have weakness, all the things. If they have programs related to enmeshment and or codependency, guess what? They are never going to choose to get out of that with you when they're the one refusing to grow. Do you understand? They don't want you to grow either. So you don't need them to support you. They're not going to because of the very programs that they run. You're asking your partner to turn off the programs that they're running in order for you to grow and heal. That doesn't even make any sense. The very programs they're running obviously shows you they're not choosing healthy things in the relationship. They're choosing growth, the healthy thing to do in the relationship to heal us, to elevate us. The very programs they run are preventing them from being healthy. Hello? So they're not going to support you in it. They're not going to jump in and do it with you. You don't need them to. Choose to grow anyway. Okay? And your coach, who is the professional, will support you and guide you through it step by step if and when your partner throws the little tantrums that they can throw, that I've seen a lot over the years. Or the partners that start with you and then refuse to continue. That happens too. Because they don't want to look at themselves. They do not want to see their programs. They don't want to own their programs. They don't want to take responsibility for their programs. They don't want to do any of it. So when they start doing the real work, they're like, oh, this is bullshit. I'm done. And they'll often project onto the therapist, the coach. They'll blame them like somehow it's wrong with that, blah, blah, blah. I don't vibe with them. I just don't like them. Really what they're saying is, I'm a spoiled little entitled brat who refuses to look at myself and take any responsibility for how I am actually showing up in this relationship. So I'm going to blame the coach or the therapist, and I'm going to make excuse for not wanting to come here. And now I've got to go see somebody else, or I won't go there with you, but I'll go somewhere else on my own, because they refuse to do the real work. Really see what the programs are that are running. And if they do that, by the way, y'all listening, that's okay. Let them go. Let them leave and not do it. You keep going. You keep going. It is a sign that all the fucked up programs they're running are being shaken up and brought to the surface. Hi, that's what we want. That's what we want, because we can't heal what we don't see, acknowledge, or feel, right? So we're shaking things up and bringing them to the surface. Now, what's beautiful about what we do at Masters of Self University is simultaneously we are teaching you literal energetic alchemy that as they get shaken up and come to the surface, you're alchemizing them. We don't want people who are not trauma trained, people who are not really educated in work like this and just decide one day that they're a coach. Sorry, I don't mean disrespect to people. You don't want to go to people like that because the stuff gets shaken up. All the programs, the traumas, the unhealed stuff, the conflicts in the relationship come up to the surface and they're like, what the fuck do you do with them? And if they're just giving you behavioral advice, just choose this. Say your affirmations. Holy shit. They're shaking up all the negative stuff in the relationship or inside of you, your pain, your whatever needs to be healed and your partner's, and then you don't know how to energetically alchemize it. That's dangerous. We don't want to do that to people. That creates more suffering. We don't want that. We don't do that at Masters of Self University. We bring all this shit up. You better believe. But simultaneously, what we're doing is teaching you and guiding you and healing you too. We do it with you. We energetically heal with you. So it's more powerful and very effective at first. Okay. We give more healing at first until you get good at what it means to actually energetically alchemize the shit that is inside of you. So as you become more powerful and able and capable of doing that yourself, then more stuff comes up. You're able to alchemize it as it comes up. Does that make sense? It's a simultaneous thing you learn. You learn those steps together simultaneously. That's the beauty of this work. It's why I love it so much. One of the many reasons why I love it so much. You're becoming more and more powerful. You're healing more and more all the time. All the stuff that needs to come to the surface and be seen, acknowledged, owned. You're healing that as it comes up because you're powerful enough to do that. And not because I say you're powerful enough or try to convince you that you're powerful. That's not what we do here at MSU. We actually connect you to your divine energetic power. It's an energetic process so that you can feel the power of yourself actually alchemizing the pain and all the crap. It's a beautiful process to learn. So when your partner refuses to grow, just grow. Okay, here's the other beautiful thing. Last thing that I'm going to mention is the more you grow, even if they end up, because there's only two choices when you become more light, more powerful, more divine. They have to entrain. They're either going to vibrate they're either going to vibrate out of your life, because of course that's a possibility. Trust me, you'll be powerful enough, healed enough. It'll be a blessing. You will feel gratitude. You will feel at peace. This is a beautiful experience you'll go through. Isn't painful when you heal all of your stuff? If they vibrate out, because it's only one of two things that can happen, they vibrate out. But do you understand that you will be so healed and so whole and so powerful that will feel good? It's not painful. It's not horrible. It's like, this is amazing. This is happening. I feel so powerful and incredible. I was powerful enough vibrationally in my divinity that I vibrated this person out of my life. Look how powerful I am. This is beautiful and amazing. And the next thing that can happen is, because only two things, energetically, vibrationally, that will happen, or things will seem to get really crappy and terrible for a while because they'll fight and do the tantrum, all the things I already talked about. But you'll become more and more and more elevated, more and more powerful. And guess what that does to their vibrational frequencies? Entrainment, energetic entrainment happens. You are slowly bringing them up higher. They literally have no choice but to grow and expand simply by being in your presence. Now, you have to reach a really high level to achieve that. I mean this. Okay. When somebody sits in the presence of what you are, when you reach a certain level of elevation in this work, you achieve a level where somebody sits in my presence simply by being connected to me. Doesn't matter if it's over Zoom. It doesn't matter if we're in the same room. Doesn't matter how. But when somebody is in front of me, what happens automatically, instantaneously, without any intention, without any effort, without trying, my energetic fields meet their energetic fields, and everything in their energetic field starts to alchemize, starts to change, starts to transform, starts to heal, starts to elevate to higher vibrational frequencies. That is a byproduct of being at a certain level vibrationally. The more you become the ways, you are on the path of what actual enlightenment, the highest levels of enlightenment that we can achieve in a lifetime. Those are the universal ways of oneness. Period. End. Becoming those ways, this is a byproduct, what your energetic fields become for other people who then come in contact with you. It automatically begins to heal and transform them. And when they don't want to be healed and transformed, guess what it does? It repels them instantly. They're like, ooh, all the programs they run, all the wounds, all the ugly blech that they have going on in their shadow self is like, oh my God, I don't want to be around that person. And they immediately go somewhere else. Like they'll leave. Okay. Now, people can easily come from their egos, from their shadow self, and they can, attack you. I don't like who you're becoming. They can do that. Of course, they'll attack. Ego attacks. That's what ego does. That's what shadow self does. That's what unconscious people do. And yet, in your vibrational fields, in your subtle energy bodies around your physical body, what you vibrate at, your resonance can become so powerful. Your partner then starts to elevate and go higher and go higher. And it doesn't mean you can force them to become an enlightened being. Do not misunderstand what I am offering to you. Do not misunderstand. But I'm telling you that a degree of healing, because of energetic entrainment, my powerful vibrational frequency means the frequencies on near me, around me, entrain, rise up and match my frequency. That's what entrainment is. It is no different than when somebody's super, super negative and you maybe are exhausted and tired and maybe going through a really hard time, maybe grieving. What entrainment is, when you're then near someone else who has really negative energy, your energy goes bloop, drops right down to match their energy. And when you're sort of weak or tired, I mean like physically weak, like you're exhausted, maybe you're overworked right now or something like that, or you're not feeling well, or you went through something painful and you're grieving, like you're lower, of course. That's part of the waves of life, the ebbs and flows of life. But during those times, you understand that when you're around people who are really negative, then you're super negative. It just entrains. That's energetic entrainment. So it's really important to protect yourself when you're lower or moving through painful stuff. Really only surround yourself by people who are going to love you and embrace you and support you. Don't be around the negativity, especially during times when you're more vulnerable to taking on other people's energies. So your partnership is no different when they refuse to grow. If you become powerful enough, you alone have the power over time. It is not going to happen overnight. Over time, energetic entrainment happens. The more powerful you become, rise up, go higher, become more powerful, healed, whole, all of it. Become an enlightened being, become the ways of oneness. Your partner almost has no choice in the matter, really, because of how energy works. This is the science of energetics. They're going to vibrate out or they're going to vibrate up. It is that simple. And so you can't force them. You can't force them to do all the healing they need to do. But I'll tell you what, when you're super high up, they cannot vibrate with you. It is too opposite. You're too far apart vibrationally. So those lower energies have to start to come up. Now, they might fight, they might resist, they might throw their tantrums. All their negative programs are going to come up. So what does that mean? They're coming to the surface. Your partner will seem uglier. You're like, I don't want to be around this person. What the hell am I even doing here? Because your healing energy is shaking up all of their ugly programs. That's how actual healing works. You're becoming a healer for them, bringing up all their shit. Now, what they do with it is their choice. What you respond to and how you handle it is also your divine, powerful choice, because now you're so powerful. And that only continues to encourage on an energetic level someone to go and heal themselves without you ever having to say it. Do you understand? This is the magic of what this work creates. But it is not for the faint of heart. If you are in a shitty relationship and you think this is going to happen in just like 3 months, in our programs, it's not. Something like this is something that'll take a year, 2, 3, 4 years if your partner really refuses to grow. I mean this very literally. Remember, the way of truth. I'm not going to lie to you. Can it happen though? Yeah, absolutely. And then you will be in a place so powerful that your relationship will actually turn magical. It'll become magical. Is that a possibility? Yes, it is. 100% possibility. Will you also, another possibility is, could you also get to a place where you're so powerful and you really are on a path of enlightenment? You are becoming the ways of oneness truly, that you realize, I do see my partner changing and healing because I've healed so much, and that is beautiful and wonderful, but I also am choosing now not to stick around anymore because they're still not really choosing to grow. They're healing, they're elevating, they're learning, they're growing by default because they're with me. And that's beautiful. But it also, for a lot of people, if they reach that level, really, a lot of times they're like, tired of you not choosing growth. That's still an immature little boy or little girl way to show up. And it's not sexy. It's not a turn on. Guess what? Surprise, surprise. It's one of the biggest passion killers of a relationship is when somebody's literally choosing to stay a little fucking baby immature boy, a little fucking baby immature girl. Like, I don't care what your physical appearance is, how, gorgeous you might be. Ugh, gross. You're not attractive. Your partner will not be sexually attracted to a little girl or a little boy when they are becoming this empowered, divine, elevated being. You're no longer attracted to that. You vibrate out of, I don't care what you look like. I don't care how sexy you are. I don't care how muscular. I don't care what you freaking look like. You're not sexy to me. I don't want to have sex with you. I am not sexually attracted to you when you're a little child and I'm this elevated being. Never misunderstand what I'm teaching to you. Never means you're superior to another person. But let me tell you, the sexual attraction really fucking dies. It does. Because it's like, ew, no, I don't want to exchange energies with you. You're all the way down there. Why would I bring that energy and invite that into me when I've done all this work on myself? You start to love yourself in a very sacred way, which means you honor your energies, your energetic fields, what other people's energies do by having a sexual exchange. Fucking gross. Ew, no, you become the way of honoring, one of the ways of oneness. And the way of honoring, when you truly become the way of honoring among the other ways, you honor yourself and your energy. Guess what? Part of that is, yeah, no thanks. Partner or not, I'm not obligated to have sex with you, first of all, just because I'm your partner or your spouse. It's fucking ridiculous. Nobody's enslaved here. Nobody owns me. I'm not your property. I'm not a fucking object. Hello, way of equality. I have my choice. And if I choose not to have sex with you, I'm not obligated to do that just because we are in relationship. It is a massive turnoff for people who are elevating and then their partners are still children. The sex dies. Okay. And the majority of the time, here's the healthy, beautiful part of this. When you're not really having sex very much anymore for this reason, the beautiful part about that is your partner is forced to connect with you in healthy ways and not escape emotional connection and avoiding by using sex to connect. So no matter how you look at this, your partner is being quote unquote forced to engage with you and interact with you in healthier and healthier and healthier ways because you're not going to want to have sex with them. But that, again, is actually beautiful for the relationship because energetically, it's pushing that partner to grow and connect on a more mature level in a healthier way, in an emotionally intimate way. Got it? So, all of this, even though it can be really rough and it can take a long time for all of this, it can be very painful. It is definitely extremely, extremely challenging. But if you actually do it and stick with it, the results are amazing and sometimes even literally miraculous. So never use your partner choosing not to grow as an excuse to not elevate yourself. Okay. You always choose growth. Always. Having said that, please like, subscribe. Be sure to share this with everybody you know. Make sure if this really inspired you in some way, sign up for a free consultation and see what our coaching programs are all about. Get a free consultation. Go to mastersofselfuniversity.com and schedule a free consultation with one of our coaches. You can also always go to Amazon and purchase Mason's Way, the 20 Universal Ways of Oneness taught by the spirit of an enlightened dog, and start reading about the ways. Allow your soul to begin to elevate and heal. You deserve it. Never, never make the excuse of allowing your partner to hold you back from healing and elevating and growing. The only thing that can come of that is the benefit of your relationship and benefiting your partner by you elevating and growing. Having said that, thank you for listening. I will see you in the next episode, and all the love in the universe I send from me to you. Thanks again for listening. Bye, everybody.